this situation just took another unexpected turn. And this time, it's not just about drama, it's about choices, timing, and consequences. Right when people thought things between Cardi B and Offset couldn't get any more complicated, here comes Stefon Diggs stepping right back into the picture. And not quietly either. From pulling up with his entire family to her concert, to Cardi leaving with him right after, the internet didn't just notice, it exploded. And then, just when things couldn't get messier, reports about Offset allegedly pushing for a DNA test added a whole new layer that nobody saw coming. Now, people aren't just asking who Cardi is with, they're asking why now, what changed, and what's really going on behind the scenes. Because when you line up the timing, Offset dealing with his own issues, Cardi reconnecting with Diggs, and legal matters suddenly surfacing, it starts to feel like more than coincidence. It feels like a shift. And that's exactly why this story is blowing up everywhere, because it's not just about relationships anymore. It's about power moves, emotional reactions, and decisions that could impact everything moving forward. So the real question is this just another chapter in an ongoing saga, or is this the moment where everything finally changes? What really set everything off wasn't just rumors, it was what people actually saw. When Cardi B hit the stage in Washington, D.C., nobody expected Stefon Diggs to show up like that, let alone with his entire family right there in the crowd. Cameras caught them front and center, vibing, dancing, fully locked into her performance, and that alone raised eyebrows. Because this wasn't subtle. This wasn't private. This was loud, visible, and impossible to ignore. Then things escalated even more after the show. Instead of sticking with her team and heading out the usual way, Cardi reportedly switched it up completely, leaving with Diggs and disappearing into the night. That one move shifted the whole narrative. Suddenly, this wasn't just about two people being seen in the same place. It felt like a real reconnection happening in real time. And the timing made it hit even harder. With Offset already in the headlines for his own situation, people immediately started linking everything together. To a lot of viewers, it didn't look random. It looked like a moment where one chapter was closing while another one was quietly reopening. What made it even more interesting was the involvement of Diggs' family. That added a different energy to the situation. It didn't come off like a casual link-up. It felt more intentional, almost like a show of support or a statement without words. And once people picked up on that, the conversation shifted from, "Are they talking again?" to "How serious is this actually getting?" Because in situations like this, it's not just about who shows up. It's about how they show up. And the way this played out had people feeling like this wasn't just a coincidence. It was a moment that meant something bigger. Just when people thought the situation couldn't get more complicated, the conversation took a sharp turn with reports that Offset allegedly pushed for a DNA test tied to one of Cardi B's children. And that detail instantly changed the tone of everything. Because now, this isn't just about who Cardi is spending time with. It's about trust, timing, and what's happening behind closed doors. According to what's been circulating, the request reportedly made its way into legal discussions during their ongoing issues, which is why it's getting so much attention. Now, to be clear, details around this are still limited and partially sealed, so there's no full public breakdown of what was requested, why it was requested, or how everything played out in detail. But the fact that something like this even came up officially, not just as online gossip, was enough to get people talking. Because moves like that don't happen randomly. They usually come from doubt, tension, or something deeper going on beneath the surface. And when you connect that with everything else happening at the same time, Cardi being seen with Stefon Diggs again, Offset already dealing with his own issues, it creates a situation where emotions, pride, and personal decisions all start overlapping. To a lot of people watching, it doesn't look like separate events. It looks like everything colliding at once. This is also why the internet reacted so strongly. Some people saw the reported DNA request as a sign of unresolved conflict, while others viewed it as a reaction to everything unfolding publicly. But either way, it added a serious layer to what was already a complicated situation. Because once something like that enters the conversation, it shifts everything from speculation about relationships to questions about trust and reality. And that's where things stand right now, unclear, or layered, and still developing. Because while people are quick to form opinions, the full story behind why that step was even considered hasn't been completely explained. And until it is, it remains one of the most talked about and most misunderstood parts of this entire situation. What makes this whole situation hit differently isn't just the headlines, it's the timing and the energy behind everything happening at once. You've got Offset dealing with public issues, including that recent incident that already had people questioning his lifestyle. And right in the middle of that, Cardi B is seen reconnecting with Stefon in a very visible way. That contrast alone is what's making people look at this differently. It's not just about who she's with, it's about what she's moving away from at the same time. From the outside, it almost looks like a shift in priorities. When situations get serious, like hospital visits, legal discussions, and public tension, it tends to force people to re-evaluate things. And for a lot of viewers, Cardi's recent moves feel less random and more intentional, like she's choosing stability, support, or at least a different direction than what she was dealing with before. At the same time, the reported DNA situation added pressure to everything. Because when trust gets questioned at that level, it's hard to just go back to how things were. Whether those reports are fully accurate or not, the idea alone changes how people interpret her actions. It makes the reconnection with Diggs feel less like coincidence and more like a response to everything happening around her. And then there's perception. Just public perception plays a huge role in situations like this. When one person is seen going through chaos while the other appears calm, present, and supportive, people naturally start drawing comparisons, even if they don't have the full story. And those comparisons can influence how every move gets judged moving forward. So this doesn't feel like just another moment in an on and off situation. To a lot of people watching, it feels like a turning point. Not necessarily a final decision, but definitely a shift in direction that could shape what happens next. At this point, the biggest question isn't just, who is Cardi B with? It's what does she actually want moving forward? Because when you look at everything happening at once, the reconnect with Stefon, the tension and reports involving Offset, and the overall shift in energy, it starts to feel like she's at a crossroads, not just romantically, but personally. For a long time, people have watched her and Offset go through ups and downs, breakups and reconciliations, public moments and private struggles. That history makes it hard for some people to believe that anything is ever truly final between them. But at the same time, situations like this, especially when things escalate into legal conversations or serious trust issues, can change the dynamic in ways that aren't easy to reverse. And that's why her recent moves are being analysed so closely. Because to some, it looks like she's exploring something new or revisiting something different with Diggs. To others, it feels like she's just reacting to everything happening around her in the moment. And then there are people who think this is all still part of a bigger, ongoing situation that hasn't fully played out yet. The truth is, from the outside, it's impossible to know exactly what she's thinking or what decisions she's going to make next. But what is clear is that every move right now carries more weight than usual. Every appearance, every interaction, every report, it all feeds into a bigger narrative that people are trying to piece together in real time. So the real story here isn't just about drama, it's about direction. It's about whether this moment leads to something new, something temporary, or something that circles back to what we've seen before. And right now, nobody watching can say for sure which way it's going to go. At the end of the day, this situation is still unfolding, and there are a lot of moving parts that haven't been fully explained yet. You've got Cardi B making headlines with Stefon, you've got ongoing tension involving Offset, And you've got reports and reactions that continue to shift the narrative almost daily. Some of it is confirmed, some of it is speculation, and some of it is still completely unclear. But one thing is certain. This isn't just another random celebrity moment. This feels like a turning point, or at least the beginning of one. And depending on what happens next, it could completely reshape how people view all three of them moving forward. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Cardi is really moving on for good this time? Or is this just another chapter in a story we've seen play out before? And when it comes to everything being said online, do you think people are reading the situation correctly or jumping to conclusions too fast? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more breakdowns like this, real, clear, and straight to the point, make sure you like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because you already know if anything new drops, we're breaking it down next.